Welcome back to Taekwondo, bro. Today we are doing some sparring drills outdoors as part of that class that we filmed outside in 4 parts, I believe. But they are all independent, they can stand on their own. So what we're doing is working on sparring drills and techniques. So the first one is a turnaround sidekick counter. So one person throws a roundhouse kick, and then you're going to throw a turnaround sidekick in response. So as you see, I'm blocking it and turning right around. It's a very quick counter attack, and it's a great way to discourage the opponent from throwing roundhouse kicks at you. Now typically this is going to the stomach, but you can also go to the head, as you just saw right there. And what's important here is that you have a good turnaround sidekick. And I know that sounds really stupid, but you need to have the mechanics down, because if you're trying to go quick and you have bad mechanics, it's not going to turn out well. And here's another tip. If you are really quick and you're predicting the kicks, so you have a really good feeling you're going to throw a roundhouse kick, turn around, sidekick, and beat them to it. You'll keep them away, because the sidekick has longer range. Okay, so we're doing the reverse punch counter attack. See, we do this in karate mainly, but it also applies to Taekwondo too. So what we're doing is, watch. You're going to punch, and then the person backs up, and they're going to parry. So look at my hand. I'm going to block. I'm not blocking like a big block. I'm just pulling my hand back and almost slapping the punch away. This is not a heavy block. This is pretty quick. And then we're also using the footwork to get out of range and then get back into range to stay mobile. Now this all obviously works for other techniques, not just the jab. It works for all punches. You can also do similar blocks with kicks. So just practice this a bunch of times. And what's important if you're practicing it is don't punch at a rhythm for your partner. You want it to be hard to predict. So as you see right now, the punches are not coming every 1 or 2 seconds. There's like uneven intervals. So what I'm looking for is when the punch starts, and then I do the block, which is really good for sparring. Great practice. Now you can see what Matt is doing right here is a little different. Instead of going back and then forward, he's just going straight forward in. It's the same block. So there's 2 different ways you can do it. You can back up, block it, and then come in, or you can predict it more and then go in on the aggressive side. Both of them are great techniques to use. It depends on your judgment, what you think is best for the moment. So practice both of them. It's pretty much the same drill. Okay, so defensive sparring, front kicks and roundhouse kicks only. So what this works on is seeing what the kick looks like. So each kick has its own chamber and its own kind of footwork. So your goal is to be able to predict, okay, roundhouse kick or front kick. So front kick you usually block with a down block, but if it's going high, you kind of just block it with a normal in-out or out-in. And then roundhouse kick, it's usually going a little bit higher, so you go for out-in block or in-out block. But this is the important part. You need to know where to block. So this is a pretty basic sparring drill. It's kind of just working on reflexes more than anything else. So when you get into the ring, your reflexes are good for blocking, and you don't freeze up. Because the last thing you want is to freeze up and think about it. You need it to be second nature, and that's what we're doing here. So if you're practicing this, remember that the attacker's practicing good technique with their kicks, but your goal is not to just spam 1,000 kicks at your partner because they can't counterattack you, because that's kind of unfair. So you want to keep it at uneven intervals, and you don't want to throw too many techniques. So you want to make it so it's real practice. You're not just beating somebody up who can't fight back right now. And also try to mix up the heights too. Don't kick the same height every time. Even with the front kick, you can go more for the stomach, or you can go more for the head. It changes how you block. So just mix that up, and then try to get your partner. As you can see, I'm trying to get Matt right now, and he's trying to not let me hit him. Okay, so this is kind of an evolution of that defensive sparring drill. So one person's attacking, but they can do pretty much anything they want, so just throwing any strike they feel like. And the same rule applies. Don't just launch an unending deluge of attacks, because that's kind of unfair. So what you want to do is throw some combos, a couple moves, 4 moves, maybe 5 moves. No 18 move combos. I mean, unless you're kind of training for that, I guess, but usually you want to be moving around. Now, blocking is not the only aspect of defense. As you can see, I'm moving around too. Sometimes it's better to dodge a technique than to block it. But it's also important to have good blocks, because you don't want to be hit if you can't move out the way. And I'm sorry I'm going out of frame here, but it's kind of hard to see when you're sparring where the camera is exactly, so. Let's look how the hands are moving. Look at the stance. I switch from a back stance to a front stance, and then Matt's throwing some techniques at me, trying to get me. I don't think he's getting me too much, but if he's watching this video, he's probably going to comment that he did get me a bunch. So go look for the comment from Matt telling me and you guys that he punched me a bunch of times. Okay, so this is about it. This is great to do, and it's really free-flowing. So once you get your techniques down and you have a bunch of combinations, a really great way to get really proficient at them is to have some free-flowing drills like this. So now we're going to switch up. So it's officially Kyosin and Mark's turn to attack. So right now, I'm just moving around. I'm throwing some round kicks. Now what I'm doing is I'm moving around. You don't want to just be a robot. Some people, they do this, and the attacker will be, okay, he can't punch me. I'm just going to stand here and throw kicks. That's not realistic. So in normal sparring, you're moving around, you're switching your guard up, you're trying to fool the opponent. So you want to make this as realistic as you can. So move around, get in there, see what they're good at blocking, see what their weaknesses are. Then as the drill goes on, maybe focus on what they're really bad at blocking. If your partner just cannot block your hook kick, just keep throwing it until they get it. That's what the drills are for. We're moving around the same thing. Now, in Taekwondo, you get a lot of experience blocking kicks, and sometimes I hear that blocking kicks, not the best thing to do. It is a lot easier than you think. So when you're blocking a kick, it hits a lot harder than the punch. So you want to have a strong block to push it out the way. So you don't want to block it, but then it still hits you, because you're going to still get hit, taking all that damage for no reason, right? So specifically, if you look at all the forms and then the techniques, you notice the full extension of a down block or an out and block or an in-out block. Obviously, they're not going to look as clean in sparring, but you want to try to get them to look as strong as they can to push it out the way. So that's pretty much it for today's video. We covered a bunch of sparring drills. So these are super important to help you get ready for sparring, or just to, fix your techniques. Maybe you're having a problem with your combinations, or maybe your footwork, or maybe your blocks. Whatever you got to work on, it's great to work on it in sparring, but also to isolate it in these drills. That's what they do best. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and then if you have any experience with sparring drills or sparring, drop in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have seen. And I'll see you around, and I'll see you next time. Good luck out there.